Coming up next, OG and I are going to dive into the top 5 ways we think you can win with your financial plan. This is going to be part tactical, part motivational speech, part let's go team, part here's who we need to block, where the problems are going to be. It's going to be a great run through using the Super Bowl as an excuse to talk about being a champion at whatever you do. Let's talk about getting your act together, because you know what, OG? All you can do is the best that you can do. Everybody else can do what they do. If you focus on you, my coach used to always tell me this, focus on you and your stuff. Don't focus on, and you'd see this, I would see this, I mean, to get a little serious now, I would see this with clients when they come into my office. They would say, hey, the economy, hey, the election, hey, the Fed, hey, the, you know, the stock market, hey, this stuff. And I would reset to, okay, to reach our goal, we need to be at X number by June. And the good news is we're already there. Oh, we're already there? Yes. So now we have some decisions to make. And I would reframe the discussion around all the things that they could do. They could either stop saving and take an extra vacation. They could get further ahead. They could do all these different things. They could take less risk with their investments if they wanted to. If they felt like, hey, I want to get more conservative, I'm not sleeping well at night, we can now do that. So all the different things we do. And if we're behind, also, we don't worry about the stock market being down, about all this stuff. And actually, what's cool is the times we were behind usually correlated with bad stuff going on in the economy and the stock market, whatever. And instead of worrying about that, we do the right thing and we'd save more money. And we're saving when it's low. And then when it goes higher, we can ease off the gas pedal if we want to. But deal with what you really need. And I think that's the key. Certainly the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, I don't think they're thinking about anything other than their own game plan, are they? I mean, truly, anything other than, hey, here's what we're good at and what we need to focus on?
Yeah, maybe the other person's game plan a little bit from the defense side, but I see what you mean. Your analogy is 80% correct. We'll go with it.
All right, let's start this, Mr. Announcer dude from the UK.
Number 5.
You want to kick us off or you want me to kick it up? Kick it up. How about that? I didn't even mean that. No pun intended there, but that was pretty cool. You want to begin?
I was a little unclear on the rules for today, just to set the stage here early, because I'm not sure if I did this right. But
you said this last time and you killed it. You did amazing.
Well, I think you're just making me feel better. But okay. All right. So number 5 is the opening of the game. So we're talking about the Super Bowl. It's the opening of the game. It's the opening of your financial plan. So the first thing that you have to do is really kind of take stock of what is what. Heard the phrase, all progress comes from telling the truth. So your balance sheet is your balance sheet. Your cash flow is your cash flow, right? So get a clear understanding of exactly where everything is, what everything looks like, and take stock of exactly where you are. Because when you do that, then you are able to make good decisions moving forward. If you don't, if you just kind of say, well, I'm going to pretend I don't have that credit card debt, or I'm going to pretend, that cash flow item on my budget doesn't exist, then you can never make progress because you're going to have this anchor kind of holding you down. So mine is the beginning of the game. Step number 5, beginning of the game, is tell the truth, get yourself a good balance sheet and income statement.
Well, I think this is why Super Bowls don't begin 2 weeks before the game, or even at the beginning of the playoffs, or heck, even at the beginning of the season. I mean, it really begins in the general manager's office by what players do we need to replace and put better ones on the field. We talked earlier with Eric about some of the problems with cut rate insurances, and maybe you need a better player in that field. And maybe in some areas of your life, you're not that concerned about it. So going with lowest cost is the best way to go. But having a truthful assessment is clearly the way these two teams have made it to the top. They know, hey, you know what? It's not about getting a better quarterback, the guy that really controls the ball. Maybe I need these offensive linemen that protect him, that give him time to think.
Right.
And I think that sometimes, OG, here there's second level thinking that needs to happen. Like we hear all the time, hey, why wouldn't I just use my credit cards as my emergency fund? Why would I have this money sit in a savings account? Well, savings account is your offensive lineman. It's your protection when things go bad. So you can take a second and assess, well, God, if I got to run my credit card for every purchase, just think about the feelings you go through every time I'm running my credit card because I have no other option. I'm freaking out more and more and more, and I'm much more likely, I think, to make a mistake.
I agree.
My number 5, and the key, I think, between good and great here is to fail faster. Like, you think nobody on any of these teams has failed before? Like, they haven't made the same mistakes that you and I have made? I think the big problem is that the average person makes a mistake and they sit around and they stew on it. They think about it. They're frustrated about it. They kick themselves for a week, maybe a day, maybe an hour. But man, when I was around those next level people, OG, as an advisor and still in my life today, these people make the same mistakes you and I do. They just make a ton of them and faster, and they're off it. They're off it. They make a decision and they're on. When you accelerate the decision-making process, I think this is a big aha. You've got 2 ways that you can solve an equation. Number 1 is just become a hell of a lot smarter. And sure, we can do that. We should always be sharpening the saw. But the other thing is just fail faster. If we can keep our winning percentage at 70%, but I make 100 decisions versus making only 50 decisions, now that winning percentage is really going to pay off. And domino after domino after domino, you're going to find then 6-10 dominoes down the road, you're way ahead of your competition. You're way ahead of your goals because you had the foresight to just get on with it, get moving. So I think realizing that financial planning, there's very little that we talk about on this show that can burn you forever. You know, there's very few things. Go ahead and make the mistake, mess it up, learn from it, fix it, move on. That's my number 5.
Okay. I like it.
Number 4.
Why don't we ping pong this one back and forth, OG? My number 4 is to take all the little stuff. I don't think that in the Philadelphia Eagles or the Kansas City Chiefs locker room, they're talking about the techniques of how to lay a block or how to make the I know enough football to be dangerous, but how to make the swim move as I'm trying to get by the, offensive lineman to sack the quarterback, or how to catch a ball. We're not dealing with that little stuff. And I think it's the same for our game. We got to put these little decisions that we occupy our brain with every day, and we got to put those on automation. This is my number 4. Automate the little stuff. Your brain only has so much room. I think the clear way to the championship is when you mess something up, figure out just not how to fix it once, figure out how to fix it for good through automation or somebody else doing it or some technique that you can do. So a flag comes up in your face automatically so you don't step in that again. And then over time, you'll find that all the stuff that matters toward you getting rich, but that you don't need to think about to get wealthier, that those are all taken care of for you. And now your brain is on $1,000 and then $10,000, then $100,000 decisions instead of these 50-cent decisions we're making every day. So that's my number 4, automation.
I found it to be so helpful to, it sounds really simple, to automate the mortgage payoff and automatically the ACH that goes into the brokerage account every single month. Everything else, I kind of still, bill paying happens automatically, but we have this strong desire to pay off our house. And I figured out like how much extra every month to pay on it, to pay it down in the manner in which we want to pay it down. And I was doing it manually. Like I would, the mortgage payment would be paid, and then I would go in and I would like, how much extra do we have this month? And okay, let's put an extra $200 on it. And my goal is 300, but we'll do 200 now. We'll try to do 400 later. And what I found was by just setting the payment at the amount plus and never touching it, kind of life expands to the money that you have. Once you get past the need number, which is probably somewhere in that $70,000, $80,000 a year range, once you're above $70,000-$80,000 a year of income, you have some extra, more or less, depending on where you live, right? There's some cost of living issues there. And so the difference between making 80 grand and making 120 grand, when you're at 80 and you look at 120 and you go, oh my gosh, I'd have $40,000. I'd have so much money. It would be insane. And then I guarantee you get to 120 and you go, 160 would be amazing. I'd have 40,000 extra dollars. That extra 40 just gets used. Obviously there's taxes and that sort of thing. It's not that linear, but after you get past the needs, right? After you get past your human needs, if you can just say, I'm going to set this way. Same thing with charitable contributions. I'm going to set it this way. And then my life is just going to grow around that new thing that I have in the way, which is totally fine. And I found that for the last several years, that has helped us tremendously. So,
yeah, I remember
for the one.
To your point, when I was at the TV station in Detroit, I worked with one of the anchors, and they made so much money that their life should have been really easy. They had so much stuff going the wrong way. And the very first thing I did, and this is one of the few clients I ever did this for, OG, because usually people are okay. They're not great at it and they can go set up a few things themselves. But we literally took 3 meetings and we dug into their entire life and just automated stuff to go the right way. They were not paying their credit card and their credit score was horrible, even though they made close to $500,000 a year. Because of the fact that they were so busy doing all these other things and their life was so scrambled, their financial life, they would just forget. They would totally just forget. They would get reminders. Their reminders would get buried because they've got all this stacks of stuff going on. We just set that credit card payment on automatic. Credit card paid off every month because they had plenty of money. Credit card paid off every month. Within 6 months, their credit score goes from, 2 digits. just skyrocketed.
Cracked the 3 digits.
Yeah. No, it just skyrocketed in 6 months. And I remember them saying, I can't believe it was this easy. And it was right in front of me. Just this little idea of automation can truly change the game to either, number one, on my client's level, get some stability, or on your level to really start creating some wealth in the area where you want it.
Yeah. Momentum.
What's your number 4?
So keeping the Super Bowl theme, mine is at halftime. So we started the game. Now we're at halftime. At halftime, it's time to kind of reevaluate. You have to see how we're doing against our goal. Too many people get a lot of energy around starting the game and then a lot of energy around finishing the game, but miss all of the stuff in the middle. And, if you took an hour every year or an hour every 6 months to review, sit down and go, are we on track with where we want to be? And what changes do we have to make to stay on track or to get back on track? And you're 40 years old and you're thinking about, well, I've got retirement in 25 years. So that's, that's a long time from now. If all you did was a meeting every year with yourself or a meeting every 6 months, you will spend a grand total of 40 or 50 hours, one work week on this entire process, which is not very much. That's not a lot. In 25 years, one work week spent on your retirement, if you do once every 6 months. And so that halftime period is critical to evaluate how are we doing against the things that we said are super important, and what do we have to do differently. So that's my number 4.
Well, as a longtime Detroit Lions fan, for people that don't follow football, the Detroit Lions have had a way of losing games over and over and over at the last second. And one thing, their new coach, who's started to turn things around, Dan Campbell, has said, we don't know how to close out a game. We don't know how to keep the sustained energy to get through the game. And now I'm watching this series on Netflix, Breakpoint, which follows top tennis stars, or these up and coming really tennis stars. But frankly, most of them I never heard of because I don't actively follow tennis. So I know who Nadal is. I know, Sharapova. I know some of these stars of present and past that are the top stars, but these new up and coming people, I don't know. But it shows the up and down of the intensity level and how much we can get in our own head at halftime, OG, and just blow up the plan. We just completely blow up the plan because our head can't stay in the game, which is why I like that idea of setting up milestones that we talked about earlier. I like going, okay, assess where are we supposed to be right now? So I really, really like that halftime assessment, not just taking a break, which I think sometimes we need to just go take a walk. Like I feel like if some of these tennis stars weren't in the heat of the moment with all these people watching and all these people around the world watching on TV, if they could just go for a walk and come back, I feel like the game would change. But the key is you're in the
there was a game that actually happened in. It was very controversial, where the young person was beating the older person quite substantially.
Jokovic decided to go to the bathroom.
No, this was worse. This was like, I need a break. It was like, I have an injury, and they kind of, and it was all like this. No, I really do. And it was like an hour long thing where the whole, the whole momentum of the thing changed, and the young person lost. It was a women's event. I don't remember.
Wow.
About a year ago.
Yeah. No, I saw the one where Jokovic decided he's going to the bathroom. They said, no, you can't go. He's like, well, I'm going. Go ahead and stop me. I'm the world's number one. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
But
he can get as many points as he wants while I'm taking a leak. I'll catch him.
I'll be back. So, I do think we have that opportunity. They might not have that opportunity, but certainly we do.
Number 3.
Okay. What do we watch the Super Bowl for?
Oh, the commercials. Come on.
Commercials. Absolutely. So the commercials in this storyline is you have to stop and make sure that you have some fun along the way. If you're so worried about, exactly timing out your exact retirement, or your exact amount that you need for your kid's college, that is the motivating factor in your life, and you don't have any fun, you need to take some time out and have some fun. If nothing, over the last 3 or 4 years, we figured out that tomorrow isn't promised to every single person. So if you are, if you're only got your head down so that you can finally pick your head up in 25 years from now, I think you're missing out. I think you can make those changes to maybe make it 21 years instead of 20, and have lots of fun now and enjoy the journey along the way. There's that great book by George Leonard called Mastery, and the whole concept of mastery is to enjoy the plateaus. Enjoy the flat parts. We all like the growth part. We all like the part where our portfolio does this, or our career does that, or our kids do these great things. But it's the boring stuff that we have to get excited about. And if you're not taking time for yourself, and if you're not taking time for the people around you, what's the point?
Did you see the controversy lately around Marie Kondo?
How she said, screw it. I didn't see a controversy. I heard she said, turns out having kids is hard.
But the controversy is somebody who's giving advice. This sounds incredibly good. And I love Marie Kondo's advice, no matter how many family members you have. I love the whole idea of the sparking joy. Ken Honda kind of did that for us in the personal finance space. I love his book, Happy Money, from a similar space. So I like that. But also somebody that gives you the advice, hey, your life will be happier if, and Marie Kondo goes, you know what? I have to learn to experience the joy in the mess of 3 kids. Like I have to learn to be where I am. And when you've got a person who's as internationally renowned expert as she is, like the huge number of people who gave her backlash, OG, going, I was thinking that when you were saying this crap, like how does my life get better? By clean out. Now, don't get me wrong. I do agree that less clutter in your life can give you more mental clarity, and study after study shown that. But I think there's a lot to what you're saying here. Being happy where you are today.
Enjoy the commercials.
Yeah. Enjoy the commercials. I love that one. My number 3 is, now that we've automated the little stuff and we've learned to move faster, now where we want to spend time is digging into that big stuff. And this is where you see the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs have really just beaten the heck out of everybody else. It's not about beating one position anymore, OG. They don't have 2 or 3 people. Either these teams have 2 or 3 weapons. They have tons of weapons, and they've learned to use all these different weapons on the other team, on offense and on defense. They have been, and on special teams, frankly, so they can do trick plays. They can run the ball up the middle. They can throw long. Even if you don't know football at all, they can do lots and lots of different things. And you know why? Because they've automated the little stuff and they're moving at a faster rate. They can now dig into those things. And if you're just starting off on this journey with us, there's three big ones. Think very critically about where you lived. We talk about being last week about being a young professional in different places to live around the world. And you even brought up, OG, it doesn't have to be around the world. If you're in the United States, you can just move. You know, the difference between living in Texarkana, where I live, and living in San Francisco, the cost of living difference is incredible.
At least 10% different.
At least 3% different. Yeah, between the two. So it doesn't even have to be worldwide, but thinking very critically about where you live is number one. Number two, thinking about your transportation is your second biggest expense. And by the way, a great book to read or listen to is called The Walkable City, and about all the side effects, OG, of setting yourself up for a lifestyle where you walk more often, where you're walking down. You guys got this great little downtown area that's maybe about half a mile from your house. You guys can just walk that. Yeah, I was going to say it's
counting?
kind of no, but seriously, and it's down a big hill and it is a little far, but man, I could just imagine, you know, when we were babysitting your house for a while, Cheryl and I would just walk down to that little downtown area and back. And so we're going out to dinner, but we are also, you know, living a healthier lifestyle. The guy that wrote this book said when he got rid of his car, he immediately lost 10 pounds, like within the first couple months, lost 10 pounds. Mm-hmm. You know why? Because he set up his life for a win from a health perspective. So I'm not saying get rid of your car, but I am saying think about your transportation options. Our friend Pete Adney, Mr. Bunny Mustache, who's been on the show, Pete, you know, famously rides his bike everywhere. Just chooses to be in a place where he can ride his bike 99% of the time. And then the third one is your grocery bill. And obviously your grocery bill, we've seen what an impact that can have this last year. Well, even during COVID, right? As we went through toilet paper and meats and now eggs. So depending on what it is, but if you can also control your groceries, you're going to be better off. So dig into those big things and ignore the little ones.
Number two.
My number two probably could have been number five, but I really like people focusing on those first as we went down these top five. And that's surround yourself with great people. You know, Eric talked about in that interview earlier about obviously as an agent, he's going to advocate for agents, but you and I are not property casualty agents, and I will advocate for an agent all day long, but only a good one, right? If you're going to have an agent, they have to be somebody that gets you have a relationship with, you can call up. If people don't have the time of day for you and it just, well, then heck, go to the cut rate place. Forget about having the agent. But I certainly on a lot of these complicated products, I like having an agent. The good news is, you know, we have Haven Life for term insurance here on the show. Term insurance is straightforward. You find a great calculator, you choose your number, you do some math ahead of time, you buy it. There's not a lot to it. Now, if you're going to permanent life insurance for a myriad of reasons, I also may not do that for most people listening, but for a myriad of reasons, you might go to permanent life insurance. I would have an agent to buy permanent life insurance to make sure that stuff's so complicated that I would do it correctly, because you can win. It's just very complicated. So surround yourself with the right people. Who's on your board? Ask yourself this while you're listening. If you can, take out your iPhone, notepad, whatever it might be, and write down who's on your board of directors and how often do you actually talk to that board of directors. Who are they? I've only started doing that in the last couple of years, and it's such an important part of your life to have these great people that you can bounce ideas off of. Because for these two teams, OG, you look at both of their coaches and then the coaching staffs they have. This is every bit as much about those coaches as it is about the players. The same coaches wind up in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs a lot. Andy Reid, notably from Kansas City, has been to the playoffs a bajillion times with both of these teams. Surround yourself with some Andy Reid.
Okay, so now we're getting close to the end of the game. It's the fourth quarter. Number two, fourth quarter. Rounding the turn toward home. I'm mixing so many sports right now.
Wow.
You're on the downhill.
So you can shoot the goal.
You're about ready to hit the slap shot. in the fourth quarter
with
for
the three-pointer
as you round the corner in your race of life. This is it. We talk about this a lot. This is the chance for the last double. And a lot of the stuff that you've done up to this point gives you the opportunity to enjoy this last little bit. And, but a lot of times people get too concerned with this last little bit. They're like, oh, I'm 50. I only have till 60, or I'm 55. I only have till 65. I need to let off the gas a little bit. And we can see what happened in the Super Bowl with the Patriots and the Falcons. They decided, hey, we're up 28-3 in the third. We just let off the gas a little bit. We don't have to be as aggressive. I mean, what's the likelihood of losing this game? Pretty low. And they lost. So as you get to that fourth quarter period, it's not time to be conservative. It's time to win. It's time to keep doing and doubling down on the things that have made you successful up to this point, and recognize that this game might be close to being over, but not the whole game. You know, just because you're working on kids' college or just because you're working on your retirement, that's not the end, right? There's still lots of partying to go after that. So you have to kind of keep your foot on the gas. So there's the fifth sport in this analogy. Keep your foot on the gas as you round the corner on the downhill, as you slap shot the 3-pointer into the upright.
Yeah. How many times, I mean, not just in games, but in life, have we seen that foot off the gas? It's going to be okay. I'm not going to pay attention. And that really is the point where you go, yep. And that's when the bad stuff started.
Yeah. I mean, you think about, no different than, our god awful target date funds. Right, that when you turn 50, they start getting more conservative.
That's a great analogy.
Because they say, well, you need all of this money at 65. It's like, no, I don't. I need 1 year's worth of money at 65. I need a whole bunch of money at 85 and 95 and 105.
And the most important double of all, that last double does not happen.
Yeah.
You slow down the most critical
Like, why would you want to
doubling of your money? Yeah, absolutely. Man, time for the fanfare. This is it. I love doing this. This is so fun. Here we go.
Okay.
Number 1.
I want you to finish off your game last because you clearly have this overarching analogy. So I'd like to finish that analogy kind of to put the cherry on top of this entire thing, because mine's not an analogy. Mine are just these, these spots.
Well, I told you I misunderstood the assignment. My bad.
Yeah, but I like it. It gives us a theme, which is cool.
I knew you'd be proud of me. I could tell. I had a dream last night about it. Told you
seriously did, though. You seriously did.
I did. This was it. It took a second to come back, and I was like, oh, yeah. There we go.
Can you tell everybody what the dream was?
It was this. It was that you were so proud that I was prepared for today.
That's so great. I'm on steroids, so I barely slept last night. I got to call my doctor as soon as it's over and say, hey, can I back this down a little bit? Because
I need some Zambian now, or Ambien. Ambien's a different thing than Zambian. Zambian's a whole different drug. Don't take that. I
don't even have any idea what Zambian is. I've never heard of that.
I don't think it's a thing.
I don't even think I want Ambien. But the number one for me is the big thing about both of these teams, OG, no matter, what I felt about the officiating in the last game that I mentioned at the top of this, no matter what, these teams didn't shortcut. There's no shortcuts. You see teams at the bottom of every league. You see people, I would see people in my office, and the people that were losing with their money were always people who were looking for a shortcut. The people that were winning were always people that ignored the shortcut. Look at the number of wealthy people, and certainly some people got wealthy off of crypto back in the day, but look at the number of wealthy people that in your life that a lot of people poo-pooed who went, yeah, I don't think I need that, because it felt like a shortcut to them. Like, I don't know what the use is. I might do it later. Usually I found most people were open to it. Okay, use case. Yeah, I get it. Clark Howard is a person I'm thinking of who was very famous. Like, yeah, I love blockchain. I love that stuff. But buying 8-bit art on the internet for $400,000, I don't think I need that. I had this problem in the 90s. I had this lie. And the lie was that I could out-earn my bad money habits. And that is a complete lie. I always thought if I just made a little more money, and you brought this up later.
Exercising your diet.
Exactly. I thought that if, like you said, if 80 to 120, 121, it didn't matter how much money I made. I kept making more and more and more money. And my habits were so bad. If I had made $1 million, I would have spent 1.3. Like I totally would have, because my habits were just so bad. And tomorrow was always going to be better because I was just going to make a little more money. It was going to, and we hear that, we see it. I watch TikTok videos, and that is the lie we're all being fed. You have to lock down your money situation first. Get rid of those shortcuts, build a foundation. And what was amazing was once I did that and I surround myself with good people, dug into the big stuff, automated the little, learned to quicken the pace, my top 5 here, things went in the right direction in a hurry, not even in a little hurry, like in a hurry. It got better way faster than I thought that it would. So that's my number 1 tip to win at money. Stop trying to find the shortcut. Do the work.
It's like we planned this a little bit because it ties in nicely at some level to my last one, which is, so now it's got to be the final play of the game, right? And if you've done all this stuff ahead of time, then you're taking a knee. It's like a victory lap. It's the victory formation.
Or
Or
hold on. Or you're the Seattle Seahawks and all you got to do is hand it to Marshawn Lynch. That's all you got to do. Sorry, Seattle.
Or you're a little behind and you need a shortcut. In which case, YOLO, Hail Mary time. See what happens. That's perfect. I don't have anything to add beyond that.
There is no way.
Victory formation or Hail Mary. Those are your 2 choices on the final play. I don't know what to tell you. If you've done it all right, if you've game planned this whole thing, you're taking a knee. If you're behind, sometimes you just got to toss one up and see what happens.
It's like the TikTok minute from Monday. Just, work till you die. There's your financial plan.
Something like that. Or to get your last double right now.
Not great. Yes. Well, I think taking time to celebrate is good. Or like we said on Monday, truthfully, it doesn't matter what age you are. Start today. You've got your Winston Churchill quote for that one, OG. Those are our top 5 ways to win at the Game of Money. That was super fun. If you want to dive back into those and have curated links on how to handle more of those, our friend Kevin Bailey, who orchestrates about 95% of our 201 newsletter that goes out for free the day after the Monday and Wednesday shows, includes all kinds of links that will help you put into practice the things that we talked about today. StackingBenjamins.com/201, the number 201. All right, I think that's going to do it for today.